applied to LaunchBox? Cool, very good. I can see that's why a lot of you guys are probably here. How many of you guys are feeling really good about the video pitch already? Nice. Okay, I see why you're here. Very good. How many of you guys have done a pitch before? Okay. A video pitch? Okay, a few. So, introduce myself. My name's Joe, Student Entrepreneurship Program Manager for Tangent here. I run the Launchpad space. I'm running Tangent 28 across this month, and I hope you guys come to more than just this event because there's value outside of it. Today I'm going to talk about pitching, specifically dig into video pitching. It's interesting because I'm talking to everybody or a lot of people who are going to be applying to LaunchBox or are going to be doing the video pitches, and I don't want all of you to have the exact same video pitch. So, necessarily, I'm not giving you the exact format as to exactly how your video pitch has to fit, but I'm going to give you some tips on how you can make your video pitch stand out and what might help you get through to the next round. I am going to talk, I'm going to show a few videos. If you guys have questions throughout it, please ask, because I'd rather that than get to the end and then just be bombarded with questions that I could have answered as we went. So, start off, any questions? You guys said you didn't know what you were doing. Somebody has a question.
Is there any equipment we can use here in the university?
Equipment you can use here in the university. If you want to come and present on this, you guys can come in here and use your
in terms of like video cameras and
video cameras. I do not have the ability to give you a video camera. If you have specific needs around video cameras, you need like a really good one. We can look into try and find one for you. But I'd say your best bet is probably keeping it simple on a phone. Phones can record pretty well today, so that's probably your best bet.
DUPA can rent cameras to people if you want. Dublin University Photography Association.
There we go. Cool. So everybody's working together already. Very good. Cool. So I'm going to start out with a question. What makes a good pitch?
Clarity.
Clarity. Cool. What else makes
Simplicity.
a good pitch?
Simplicity.
Simplicity. Anything
explain
else?
the program. Explain the problem of your business idea.
Right. Making it clear.
Energy.
Energy. Very good. Cool. One thing that makes probably the best pitch, and what I will say is at the end of this, I have really big slides. It's really clear what I'm talking about. You probably don't need to take notes. All of the key points I'm going to make are at the end, but please ask questions. That's the one thing I'll say. So first video on how to start a pitch or what makes it work.
The best way to start a speech, and the way that I hope all of you use from now forward, is the same way we start a story to a child. Now, how do we start a story to a child? Érase una vez. Once upon a time. And what happens when you say once upon a time? I can tell you what happens when I say once upon a time. My daughter leans forward, gets ready to hear, engages. And we were all trained as kids to know when a story is coming. We also know when a teacher is about to deliver a 40-minute boring lecture that has no impact on our lives. But in business, you don't hear Jack Welch say once upon a time. Steve Jobs doesn't start his speeches once upon a time. So there's a grown-up way of saying once upon a time. And if you listen to the conversations that are interesting around you at a dinner table, in a networking event, if you listen to the people that are gathering, the group of 8 that are listening to them, the way they're talking is different. The way they start is different. The way you tell stories as an adult is, in October, was the last time I was in this room. There were 120 people in the room. And I was having a little conversation with one of the world experts on public speaking. And he said something to me. He said something to me that's had me thinking ever since. He said something to me that changed what I think about what's important in speaking. Now I can pause for about 30 seconds, 2-3 minutes. And you want to know what he said. So, in speaking in sales, we assume self-interest. If you can tell a story from your own life that connects you to why this topic is important to you, why you first joined the company, when you first saw someone benefit and you saw how their life was changed. And I think here, exploring what quality of life means for you. In your business, how do you affect quality of life for a customer? Because that's where the stories that will start to connect you to the audience will come from. Because stories are about people. They're not about objects, they're not about things. It's about the people behind the things. If you want to tell a good story about Tango, don't talk about the software. Talk about the people who built the software, what they do, how they are, what's important to them, what they sacrifice. And in your own life, what does quality of life mean? What sacrifices have you made to achieve something that was more important? And if you could tell stories and the audience connect with those stories, then they want to hear what you have to say. And all the reasons and all the benefits, they're all written in the document and in the PowerPoint. But they need to trust you. And they need to care about you as a person to engage with you and then decide that they will act.
So what's the most important part about your presentation?
Story.
You tell a story. Everybody has seen a pitch or a presentation before where it's, here's, my name is Joe, and I'm going to be talking to you about this today. In a video pitch, it's even more obvious when it starts that way that, as he said, I'm going to lean back and I'm not interested. If instead you start with a story, something that's meaningful, something that connects you to what it is that you're doing, the meaningful element of how you're going to change somebody's life with your product, business, service, whatever you're doing, that's going to start it off the right way. How you do that is very contextual to what your business is, knowing your customer and knowing who it is that you're creating something for. So, tip number one, if I go here, tip number one, tell a story, right? If you tell a story, you're on the right track. If you do that, you're better off than probably 90% of the video pitches I've seen where people stand and do a basic presentation about their business plan. I can read your business plan. In a video pitch, I want to hear the story of your business. Does that make sense? Before I go on to tip number two, any questions? Cool, it makes sense. So, how do you tell a good story? Any ideas?
Personalize it.
Absolutely.
Build empathy.
Build empathy, absolutely. How do you, as an individual, yourself, tell a good story? What characteristics will make it a good story?
Be funny if you are.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and if you're not,
Don't be funny.
dead on. Exactly. So it's all context. So what I'm going to show you guys here is a video of somebody who does fit into that be funny category, and how his pitch, how he tells his story is very contextual to his business. This is Big Willie G, and I love Big Willie G.
I'm so stressed out trying to plan all of life's celebrations. I mean, I got little sister's graduation, I got Ted's birthday party, and of course, football season is coming back. I want to plan a tailgate party for that. I wish there was one easy solution for me to order all my party supplies, just as easy as booking an Airbnb. Wait, there is. Party on Demand is your one-stop mobile party supply shop, delivering the party to you in 1 hour or less. We deliver the 3 essential ingredients you need to wow your guests and have an incredible, memorable party. We deliver food, talent, and decoration right to your door. Bam! We make it happen easy with our partnerships from Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates, delivering that tantalizing food that's yummy, yummy in your tummy. In addition to that, our friends over at Amazon Prime are hooking it up with our great, crazy curated party box that's delivered to your door. Plus, we have hooked up over 1,500 incredible talents of dancers, acrobatics, and even your own personal chef from Benihana. That's it. It all starts with the box. Party on Demand has already partnered with over 35 of the world's largest companies and brands that's making it a cool thing. Think of Pinterest meets Etsy, delivered in your box and all exclusive right to your door. Oh man, it's going down. Our app is simple and easy to use. And less than 5 clicks from your phone, your party is on. With over $251 billion in its licensing and rental industry, we know we want to disrupt this marketplace, because over 800,000 people celebrate their birthday in the U.S. alone every single day, not including over 500,000 people that just have a great social and celebration as well. With that, million. Party on Demand was inspired by my father, who passed away from cancer. But before he did, he said, son, celebrate life more often. Whether that's your job promotion, or getting an A on a test, or even crossing the street, celebrate life every single day. Now you don't have to stress no more, or wonder how to put on a really cool party and impress your friends. We can do it for you. I'm Big Willie G, the CEO of Party on Demand, and we're helping you, and your best friend sitting next to you to party on. So call us, and I'll see you at the party. Woo, woo, woo.
So, do you guys think that you would see him at a party? Yeah. You can see Big Willie G being the guy who's at the party that he's throwing. That fits his brand really well. If he was selling a cancer treatment, I'm not sure that type of pitching style would work, but it fits really well to his business, and that's what I'm talking about. A big key for him, though, is making it memorable. So it's something that I'm going to remember. The reason I remember it is because he not only had the projection and his way of being was a party. I remember that he's a party, his business is a party, and I'm probably going to see him at a party later. So it consistently goes through everything about it, makes it memorable. That's number 2, make it memorable. If you can make me remember your presentation, you guys actually can see right now, there are a lot of people in this room. All of you guys are going to be submitting video pitches. The judges will watch all of those video pitches. If I remember Big Willie G at the end of it, like his business may be the second best business by a slight margin, but if he's the most exciting and he's somebody that I remember and somebody that I can see and visualize, that might help. So, one thing I want to show though, not all pitches are made memorable because of something like Big Willie G. This is not a pitch, this is a video, but it gives you some context for what it might look like on the other side.
Welcome to this 2-minute pause in your day. Let your shoulders relax. Letting any tension begin to melt away. Become aware of your breathing and the rhythmic rise and fall of your chest. This is you, alive and present. Your session is now completed. In your own time, let your eyes open.
Do you think Big Willie G could pitch that? At least not with the style he used. So there is a way to make something memorable without being that crazy out there, I'm gonna say, American person. That's the style of pitching.
So you guys, what are you looking for? Are you looking for the first one or the second one in the video pitch?
Closer to the second one is what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna give you more context as we go on, but we wanna move in the direction of it being closer to a video like that than you standing and facing the camera. You can stand, you can face the camera, and that's okay if you're explaining it, but we want a story. We're not looking for the pitch that you necessarily give on stage per se. If you build a story, and I'm going to give you some examples at the end of what it kind of could look like, that's what's going to make it memorable. That's what a video pitch is meant to be. It's not your entire business plan laid out on the screen. Does that make sense? Cool. So, tip number 3. Oh, I keep doing that. And I'm going to get out of this so we don't mess up again. Here we go. Right. Tip number 3, make your energy match your brand. So as I said before, if your energy is calm and your company is calm, that works. If your energy is party and your company is a party company, that works. That's how your pitch should come across, and it's even more clear in a video. So I hope that makes sense. Next problem. What do you do when there's limited time? How long is the video pitch meant to be? 90 seconds. So a maximum of 90 seconds. A minute and 30 seconds. It's really hard to get a lot of information across in a minute and 30 seconds. What that doesn't mean is you should try to get a lot of information across in 90 seconds. If you try and squeeze everything you would say in a 5-minute pitch into a minute and 90 seconds, I will remember none of it. If you try and say the most important things in an emotionally compelling way, I'll remember that and have enough questions to want to see what's next. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you an example of an elevator pitch that gets a lot of information in a short amount of time, but in a way that you remember the key points. Again, this is an elevator pitch as an example. We'll show how that can translate into a video pitch.
My name is Josh Light, and I'm the CEO of CupAd, and we believe that we have the most effective form of advertising available in the market today. Our advertisements are exposed to customers for 2,220 seconds on average. Now, what kind of advertising has that kind of exposure time? Ladies and gentlemen, we advertise on coffee cups. That's right, we put your brand in their hand. So how does coffee cup advertising work? Well, we got an advertiser. They pay us money. We produce paper coffee cups with their advertisement or brand on it. Then we give these coffee cups to coffee stands for free. Now, why does someone want to advertise on a coffee cup? Because it takes an individual 37 minutes to drink a cup of coffee on average. That person's going to have to look at the cup, drink, look at the cup, drink 20 times before it's fully consumed. And that person's going to move around like a mobile billboard, exposing that brand to at least 6 different individuals before that cup is drank. What's in it for CupAd? We make 13 cents of profit on every single cup that we distribute. And what's in it for the coffee stands? Well, when most people think about coffee stands, they think about Starbucks. But what about the 25,000 coffee stands in this nation that have plain white cups like this? They don't have the economies to scale to put their own brand on the cup. So we give them free cups. They save $15,000 a year by not buying cups. They like these savings so much, ladies and gentlemen, that approximately 80% of the stands that we've contacted have signed exclusivity agreements to distribute our cups. What kind of momentum have we started for this company? The last month alone, we got 58 coffee stands in California to sign exclusivity agreements with us to distribute our cups. If we continue to get 58 coffee stands every single month, for the next 12 months, we will have 700 coffee stands at the end of the year. With 700 coffee stands, we can move 8 million cups a month. And at 13-cent profit, 8 million cups a month, we're making over $1 million of profit every single month. And we've already started this, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, our first customer, Overstock.com, will see their cups hit the California market in 21 days. Thank you very much.
So what does he do?
Yeah.
He probably drinks a lot of coffee. Yep. What does he do? Advertises on cups, right? What am I going to remember in an hour from now about what he does?
He can make a
He advertises on cups, and there's a big profit margin. There's a lot of potential there. He knew his numbers. He went through his numbers. He went through them very quickly. Honestly, that would be my one critique. He went through them quickly. It's because he's pitching and he has to get the numbers across. But something like that, where he's an entertaining person, it fits his brand, it's coffee, high energy, he's matching that energy. You can get a lot of information, you can have a video on yourself of doing that, it works for his brand. Again, doesn't work for every single one, but I'm just gonna put in the most effective form of advertising was the most important line he said. Because the question you ask at the end of that is, does this actually work? He broke it down within the first 30 seconds, you knew what they did. They sell advertising space on coffee cups. In the next 20 seconds, he explained why it works. He told the story of a coffee drinker. He didn't say, everybody drinks coffee, so this is gonna work. He said, no, somebody picks up their cup, drinks it, looks at it, drinks it, looks at it. I can visualize myself doing that. That's a very different way of telling that story. The next 15 seconds, what's in it for them and what's in it for their partners, the coffee stands, it's profit. The coffee stands, they don't have to pay for cups. For them, we make 13 cents per cup. It makes sense. And then the last 20 seconds, what they've done already, this is really important to set up the last point. So they've secured exclusivity agreements already, and then the only thing they say about what's coming next is based on what they've already done. It's not, here's what could happen, here's the high potential. They said, we've done this, if we keep doing this, we can get somewhere. Does that make sense? It's not saying this could happen, but you need to benchmark against something. If you haven't done it yourself, showing here's another company that did something similar to us and here's why it works, and here's why we're the team to get it done. All contextual to what you're doing. The most important thing, again, as I said, showing the context. It all fits together into his brand. So he's selling coffee. He is talking about people drinking coffee. He tells the story of somebody drinking coffee. One more thing, what do you do with little time? So if you know your numbers, it's really good. But there are a few things that are a bit more important than knowing your numbers. This is a very short video. I'm just going to show you quick.
When you walk up into a setting like this, you've got 3 free blinks before everybody checks out and starts looking at audience members. So when you come up here, don't squander that time. Don't cite statistics. Don't tell us about market size. Attach to a narrative of a true problem you're solving, why you're doing it better than anybody else in the world, and why we be idiots to not get on board with you.
You guys catch that? I have the quote for you, I figured. Key quote. Don't cite statistics. Don't talk about market size. Attach to a narrative of a true problem that you're solving, the narrative of the problem that you're solving, not just saying the problem you're solving, but the context within which that happens. It's telling a story. Why you're doing it better than anyone else in the world, that fits your team, that fits what's your unique selling point, what makes you different, and why would we be idiots to not get on board with you? Why is it right now? Inspire me. Why does this make sense right now? So, don't fixate on the numbers. That's point number 4. Don't fixate on the numbers. If you have the numbers, it's good to know the numbers. If you say the numbers, make it a big thing. I'm asking you now, does anybody remember what the first number that the Cups pitch he said?
13 cents.
No? First number. That's it. 2,220. That's the average amount of time, or seconds. Yeah. That somebody will look at their advertisements. So he used a number that was repetitive for a reason. If you're using numbers, make the numbers work for you. Don't say some very long number that comes out of nowhere. If it is a number, make me remember the number. But don't fixate on the numbers. That's the point. So if you don't get to fixate on the numbers, how do you prove that your idea is good? Yep, question.
Do you think it's a case that where some ideas may need more convincing by real fact versus others that you can kind of see where the numbers would work and things like that, and that you might focus on that instead?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all contextual. If you're creating something that is purely we're making money off of making money and it's very finance focused, yes. But if I'm looking at an Excel spreadsheet on the screen, it's not going. Does that make sense? It needs to be. If you're talking about numbers, give me a story that makes the numbers make sense. So they're going to drink the coffee 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It's not just him saying people drink coffee 4 times and they look at it 20 times. It's him showing me that happens. So if you need to focus on the numbers, make sure there's something else there to back it up that is visual. Does that make sense? Any other questions before I move? I know I talk fast. I haven't had coffee today. Cool.
Just a quick one. I suppose when a lot of the people in the room, when we're making pitches, we kind of slant it towards either a customer, financier, or maybe the broader public. What sort of slant should we put on this for the purposes of tangible?
So specifically what to focus on, you guys have all gotten emailed the LaunchBox, like the criteria for what it will be judged on. Base it on that criteria. It's not necessarily like you need to have a specific ask at the end of it, like I'm asking you for you to put me into the LaunchBox program. Don't beg. I know, but don't beg. It's genuinely like show why you're great, and that will in turn help judges see why they should be on board with you, why they want to work with you, because your idea is so great. It's not necessarily an investor pitch where at the end you're asking for $10,000. It's this is why this idea will work. If you show that, it should come across. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Other questions? Cool, I'll keep going. If you can't focus on the numbers, how do you prove that the idea is good? I'm just going to show you a really quick video. This is an air conditioner. I cut off the beginning of it because the intro is cringy, but this will explain how you can potentially prove that an idea is good without showing numbers or saying exactly how it works.
Sensible turns up the heat before you wake up in the winter. It cools your house down before you come home in the summer.
He's like your mom and dad, just without having to hear about his back problems. Hi, Mom. I'd like to take a brief moment and explain how Sensible is installed. Oh, look, here's the team behind Sensible. Engineers, designers, visionaries. They've invested years of their lives in this product, not only to make your life more comfortable, but also because of a green agenda. Not that. The other green. Yes, Sensible reduces the energy your AC uses by an average of 40%, making it good for the planet and for your electricity bill. Personally, I don't care about Earth, but if it doesn't bother me, I don't mind letting it exist.
Yeah, not pretty dark on that end, but does it make sense? How he showed, he didn't tell. So the important thing here is that if you're saying anything, show me what you're saying. As I said with the coffee cups, if you're saying they're going to drink it 20 times, show me drinking 20 times. If it's really easy to install something, show me how you install it. If you have a really great team, maybe line them up in doctor's jackets and have them holding the technology that you've already developed. You can say things without actually saying them. If you have technology that works, showing me that it works is a lot more powerful than saying we have a working prototype. I believe you, but if I can see it working, that means so much more. Does that make sense? So, tip number 5, show, don't tell, to whatever extent you can. If you have to say something, make sure it's backed up by a visual. So if you're saying anything, make sure I can see it as you're showing it. There's a reason it's a video and not an audio pitch, because the video is supposed to be there, it's supposed to be visually compelling, at least to the extent that it helps. The video should help make sense of the words coming out of your mouth. Make sense? Questions on this? Show, don't tell? Cool, makes sense. So, we're getting towards the end, and then I'm going to let you guys just ask all the questions you want that may be a bit more specific. What makes a good video pitch? So if you've been talking about pitches, a lot of these are video pitches, a lot of these are Kickstarter campaigns. If you want inspiration, please look at Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaigns that have worked. They are really good at showing the story. The ones that have done really well are exactly what you kind of want to frame yourself towards. Because if you can get the general public to invest in you and believe in you and that all makes sense, then it makes sense to be in a program like LaunchBox. So, what makes a good video pitch? This is what LaunchBox thinks makes a good video pitch. The judging criteria. We've sent it to you. You know exactly what LaunchBox is looking for, right? Strength of an innovation idea. That is contextual to the next 2. The strength and innovation of your idea is only going to make sense if you can communicate to me the strength and innovation of the idea. I guarantee I can find somebody who could sell this pen as a bigger innovation than a cure for cancer if somebody's just mumbling the cure for cancer versus somebody really who cares about pens and has built a story around how this pen is going to change somebody's life versus a really short pitch. Does that make sense? So the quality of communication, the creativity displayed is exactly what I've been saying, which is every judge ever has seen a load of pitches where somebody says, hi, my name is Joe, and this is my product, and I'm going to be talking to you about this, and then I go through the business plan and the financials and how the market works. Be creative, do something different. And this is where I say, I can't give you guys that part of it. Every single one of you guys in here is going to be making a video pitch if you're applying for LaunchBox. If you're making that video pitch, I can't tell you because you need to do something different. But if you are looking for ideas, if you're looking for inspiration, as I said, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, there are loads of creative campaigns. Don't just copy the ones I showed you because there's going to be at least 1 or 2 of you who try to, and that's okay. But if it's the same as everybody else's, it doesn't stand out. And then the last one is feasibility. If you can show, as I said with the cups example, that you've done this, and based on what you've done, this is what's going to work, that's how the feasibility comes into play. So we've done this, or there's a model that works, and we know it works, and here's why it works, and here's how we're going to project that over the next amount of time. Strength and innovation of idea comes out of all 3 of those. Does that make sense? Cool. So I'm going to wrap up with 2 examples of 2 video pitches, one of which I like in particular, but we'll start with this one, Wink. It's a team that got into LaunchBox in 2017. So this is not their video pitch, but it is an example of a video pitch that Allison specifically sent to me to use as an example in this presentation. So if she's telling me to use this as an example in the presentation, might be worth paying attention. That's all I can say. That's it. No. Now we have to watch the intro. I had it set up perfectly. Alright. Sponsored by.
Is this you on several boring dates making no meaningful connection? Well, we're about to change that. This is Dara, and I'm John, and we have an idea. Dara got building. We wanted to bring people together with connection. So we could what's supposed to be actual dating. We find you someone and something to do. So, how does it work? Well, you swipe on people and activities, and when someone likes you in return and likes the same thing that you want to do, you match. So it's up to you where you go from there. So, no more excuses for your boring dates. No more flashing out with the ladies. No more mindless encounters. And no more lonely nights out on the pool. Meaningful experiences. But I'll start with a wink.
Oh my god.
Right. So, I have one question. This talk today is called Video Pitching and Editing. How much editing did that take?
A lot.
None.
It's a straight one.
Pretty much none. They put wink at the end. They made their logo appear on the screen. You can literally Google how to do that and do it on any video editing software. If you can't do that, call me. I'll literally help you put that on the screen. Nothing more than just that. But it just shows you don't need incredible editing skills to make a good video. It doesn't have to be the continuous movement necessarily, but you can just shoot a video on a phone. Phone quality is really good today, and make a really good, compelling pitch. Do you know what they do? If you know what they do, raise your hand. But none of you answered my ask. That's weird. So everybody knows what they do. Do you know what their team is like?
Yeah.
No?
Creative.
Yes?
Fun.
Work
Yes.
well together.
Do they have a developer who can make the app for them?
You don't know.
Did you see that?
No.
In there, as they go through, I'm just going to go back just to point this out as a really good example of show, don't tell.
This is Dara, and I'm John, and we have an idea. Dara got building.
Oh look, he got building, he's developing. Did they say we have a developer on the team who can make this app happen?
No.
No. But do you know that they have a developer on the team who can make this app happen? That's show, don't tell. It's really compelling when you can do that rather than saying, here's why we can do it. If instead it's just flown through, it makes sense. That's my last question for that one. I'm going to show you guys the last video. This is my favorite. Some of you might know why. I love bees. So it's just a fun fact.
We have evolved alongside the honeybee in a symbiotic relationship. We care for them, they pollinate our crops, and of course, make lots of delicious honey. But getting the golden nectar has always been quite a task. I just thought it was crazy to have to crack the hive open, pull the hive apart, stress out all the bees, and spend all day in the shed just to get your honey. And I thought, there must be a better way. So my dad and I got to work.
And we've done it. Now you can simply turn a tap and pure fresh honey flows right out of your hive. Delicious, ready for you to eat.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It's honey on tap.
For those that don't know, harvesting your honey used to be a real labour of love. You had to protect yourself from stings, fire up a smoker to sedate the bees, crack the hive open, lift heavy boxes, pull out the frames trying not to squash bees, brush them off the combs or use a leaf blower, transport the frames to a processing shed, cut the wax capping off, filter the honey, clean up all the mess, then the frames have to go back to the hives again. Now you don't need to do any of that. Turn the tap, sit back and watch the honey pour out. It's pure, unprocessed, untouched, delicious honey directly from the hive. No mess, no fuss, no expensive equipment, and much more friendly for the bees. This is the first time in the world this has been possible. There is nothing else like it.
It really is a revolution. We can see into the hive, we can see when the honey's ready, and we can take it away in such a gentle way. What a wonderful thing.
The flow frame.
I'm going to stop it there because that is almost exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. Do you know what they do?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you feel inspired?
Yeah.
Do you want to save the bees?
Yeah.
Good. Good. That's what I want. It's a really good way of showcasing the story. They told the story of a beekeeper and how it looked before this existed and how it looks today. They told the story. They made it meaningful. That's the last point. When you create a video pitch, at the end of the video pitch, I want to feel inspired. Inspire your audience. Tell me the story and end on something as to how this is going to change. It doesn't have to change the world. How is this going to change the life of one person, and why does that matter? That's the inspiration you want at the end. If you hit the nail on the head, the Honeyflow Hive raised $13 million on Indiegogo. It's the greatest campaign, or the largest raised campaign in the history of Indiegogo. They made that video. Most people did not even watch the video to the end before they clicked and got a hive. Their target market was not beekeepers that exist. Believe me, I've talked to them, they're very happy with the way they're doing. This created a new market of beekeepers. And it was because they told the old way, and this is the new way, and you can be part of it, you can join into it. And they go into that in the rest of their video. If you guys want to look it up, watch the rest of it. I'm not going to put you guys through more bees than I have to. But the last thing, and probably the most important thing, is that if at the end of it I come out inspired, and I'm inspired by your idea, and it feels like something that's really going to have the impact that you tell me it's going to have, it's going to tell that story, and I feel it, that's powerful, that's memorable, and that's going to get you to do really well.